Hey, what's going on, guys? Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you may be in the world. I am your host, Daniel Carmack, and guys, tonight we're going to wrap up this, three-part series of 7 tips to be more consistent, more productive, and more effective in your business. So, I put out one video that had tips 1 and 2. Then last night I covered tips 3 and 4. Tonight we're going to go ahead and wrap that up with tips 5 through 7. So before we get started, as always, make sure that you let me know who you are and where you're coming in from. If you are watching this on a replay, make sure you drop a hashtag replay down in the comments so I can come back in later on and give you a shout out. All right. So it's been a very long day, guys. And, doing this series kind of just brings all of these things, all of these tips to fruition as I'm going through them with you. And, life is going on around us. It's just like, if I didn't have these things in place, and even having these things in place, it still sometimes is a challenge with, like I said last night, work and family and everything that's going on. So, just make sure, you're dedicating your time. If you think back to, the previous steps, tip number 1, excuse me. Tip number 1 is clearing the clutter, making sure you have, a clean, organized workspace to work in, if that's digital or physical, however you have your office or your workspace set up. Step number 2, determining the time that you have to consistently dedicate to your business, if it's part-time or, if you're lucky enough to be, fully dedicated to growing your business. That's awesome. I'm just waiting for a couple more years to wrap up the Army, and and then that's my plan as well. Tip number 3, prioritize, or tip number 3, prioritize your tasks and your activities. Make sure that you're not just doing busy work. Make sure that when you walk away or you take a break, that you are satisfied with what you've accomplished during that time. And then tip number 4, make sure that you set a time to, network and, person-to-person interactions, engaging your audience on your fan page, right? So, I hope so far that was helpful, and I think, the next 3 tips will be good for you as well. So, tip number 5, guys, let's get right into it, right? So tip number 5 is as you're growing your business and you're engaging with people and you have, new customers, new prospects engaging you, make sure that you're setting time aside for video chats, okay? You want to make sure that you are in control of your schedule. It's, you might have other things going on in your business. You might still be in corporate America, or, you got a family, you got kids. One of my, partners, comrades, if you will, she does a phenomenal job. Melanie, she's got 3 young boys, and she's a miracle worker. She figures out how to do it and structure it. And talking with her, it's just very, very structured, very scheduled. So as she's engaging with customers, prospects, she's making sure that she is, providing them the means to, schedule what works best for them. And, that's one of the things that we learned through attractionmarketing.com is, making sure that when you are ready to talk, that I give you the opportunity to schedule that for yourself. And you'll learn that as you incorporate that into your business, that people, you'll have a higher show up rate than you will, if you're trying to schedule and hustle them for an appointment time and date and things like that. So just make sure that you set time aside, and setting the video chats, guys, it's more, personable. They get to hear you, they get to see you, they get to see your mannerisms, and the other side for you as well, as you're engaging with them and you're talking about different aspects of your business specifically, or what it is that you're planning on doing. You can kind of read their body language, and as you get practice, you'll be able to pick up on who's like really serious and who's just kind of kicking tires and throwing some stuff around. So just make sure you set that time aside, and make sure that you're on time, and you come ready to deliver some value. All right. One thing that really helped me personally as I was getting started is, set a number goal. Have something quantifiable that you can go back and look at. It's different for construction workers, because if you're building a house, then you can see the walls go up, you can see the roof getting put on, you can see the electrician being ran. But as we're building our business and our presence, our brand through social media, sometimes outside of your metrics, obviously customers and things like that, it's kind of hard to see what it is that we accomplished. So by setting a number goal, having something quantifiable that you can go back and you can look, set a number for how many posts you want to do every day. Set a number for how many engagements you want to do every day. Set a goal for how many emails, how many follow-ups, how many voice chats, video chats that you want to do, right? Set that goal, and then, work until you achieve that goal. And once you achieve that, then, when you're ready to close business, right? When you're ready to lock the doors, then you can see that your work, and you can see the effort that you put in, and it's going to give you that sense of accomplishment and that sense of that you really did something in that time that you dedicated to your business. Okay, so tip number 5, make sure that you set time aside for video chats. And then tip number 6, make sure that you set a number goal on what it is that you want to accomplish. And guys, lastly, definitely not least, right? Last but not least, and this is something that I do. I make sure that I go through it, even though sometimes it's a pain because you got passwords and whatever the case is, right? But guys, get rid of all of the distractions. Okay, when you look back at tip number 2, and you think about the time that you have to dedicate to your business, that's what it needs to be, like, right? And I talked about this in a previous video, treating your business like a profession, acting like a professional. When you go to work, it's time to work, right? So make sure when you are, if it's 1 hour or 2 hours or 6 hours or whatever the case is, and obviously, the more time that you have day to day to commit, you can take your lunch break, and you can, take a break and go walk. But, if you are, like a lot of people, and you're in the, you're still doing everything else and trying to grow your business, when you set that time and you dedicate yourself to that, make sure you get rid of all the distractions. Put your phone on. I leave my phone in a different room. I close all of the tabs. I make sure that I'm not, I don't have phone calls coming in. All of the people that I know that would reach out to me at random, at this point, they know, at certain times. And then if I'm doing something kind of on the fly, like, oh, hey, I got this, thing that I want to get out to you guys right now, then, I kind of let them know, hey, I have a live going on at 7:30, at 9:30, whatever the case is, right? So then that way it just kind of lessens the opportunity to get interrupted. And, by closing those distractions, it's going to give you the opportunity to really focus on what it is that you're doing, and making sure that it's, that you're accomplishing the goals that you set. Okay, so just a quick recap of these 7 tips, guys. All right, so tip number 1, get rid of the clutter. Tip number 2, determine how much time that you have to dedicate to your business every day. Tip number 3, prioritize your tasks and activities, what it is that you have to do. Make sure that you're getting those important things done, and you're not just consuming your time with busy work. Tip number 4, make sure that you're setting time aside to have some personal, person-to-person interactions, right? Networking. Tip number 5, schedule time to do your video chats with your, and it doesn't necessarily just have to be customers, it could be business partners or mentors or, peers in your industry, your niche, whatever it is that you're working on. Tip number 6, make sure that you are setting a number goal that you want to achieve. And lastly, tip number 7, get rid of all of the distraction, guys. Okay, so I really hope that this helped you, that you found some value. I hope it kind of gave you some framework to, you know, like I said, be consistent, be productive, and be effective in the time that you have to dedicate to your business regularly. If you have any questions, or you want to, you know, go into something, if you'd like to talk about, you know, some different scheduling and things like that, guys, if you haven't yet, make sure you go back and you check out Post Planner, you check out Hootsuite. I can't express to you how much time that's going to save you, and how effective that's going to be for you to be consistent, you know, with your business. So make sure you go back and check those out. I will be back. We got a couple busy, big days coming up with work and stuff. So I will be back on Saturday at our normal time, 2 p.m. Eastern. I appreciate everyone being here. If you found value, make sure you leave me a hashtag value down in the comments. You know, and any feedback that you have, good, bad, or indifferent, don't worry, I have thick skin. So I definitely would appreciate that, guys. So have a good evening. As always, guys, take care, be safe, live life, and remember, we create our own freedom. Bye for now.